welcome to Sunday Soul Sessions. I'm TT Gore, and I am so excited that you chose to visit with us today. I hope that your week has been doing great, that you've taken care of yourself, and that you are spending some time to replenish, rest, all those good things. As we get into this Sunday Soul Session, I was really thinking this week what I wanted to discuss. And one of the things that I thought about was how I kind of wanted the videos to be structured. And I thought, I really want to start it out the way I start out every professional development or every course or every therapy session. And that is with deep breathing. You can do a quick Google search and find a million benefits for why deep breathing is really, really beneficial to us. However, I just want to touch on one, and that is that most of the time we are operating in this human vehicle, in this system that works like a fine oil machine most of the time on autopilot. What that means is that we walk through our day doing work, encountering things, having emotional moments without ever really realizing what our bodies are doing to allow us to do that. We feel our bodies when we're in pain or when we have overexerted. There's a lot of times that we don't pay attention to it because, again, it's that kind of autopilot mentality. I don't think about my lungs breathing in and out on a consistent basis, but it's the reason why I'm here is because my lungs are doing their job. And so when we begin to pay attention kind of to this human body, we're able to tap into more of our strength. We're able to tap into more of the things that people may call intuition or kind of, that sixth sense or whatever it is that you want to call it, that allows us to go, oh, wait a minute, there's something more that is happening here, because our bodies really do kind of sound off that alarm. When you also talk about deep breathing, it's an awesome coping technique. It's an awesome way to reset yourself. It's an awesome way to really kind of focus yourself in a still, silent way. And so what I'd like to do today is to just teach a really brief technique, because deep breathing has several different techniques that allow you to do that. So what I do before every professional development or class that I teach is essentially this. What I'd like for you to do if you're sitting down is to sit up straight. Imagine yourself kind of very much aligned, like someone's pulling a string. Your chin is kind of leveled. Your shoulders are kind of dropped, not up by your ears. Hands are relaxed on your knees. If you're laying down, you kind of want to do that same posture, prostrate. But again, bring your shoulders down, not up by your ears. Relax your jaw. And allow for you just to have kind of this straight feeling, aligned feeling within your body. What we're going to do is we're going to count in to the count. We're going to breathe into the count of 8. Breathing in means that you're taking air in through your nose. And as you're doing that, your stomach should be expanding. And then you're going to hold it at the top of that for 2 seconds. And then you're going to release it, and your stomach should be coming in and feeling it being kind of pulled towards your spine, right? And you're going to blow it out. Now, for some people, they like to blow it out through their nose. And some people, they like blowing it out through their mouths. It doesn't matter how you choose to do it during this time, just as long as you're being very controlled as you're letting this air out. So you're going to breathe into the count of 8. I'm going to count. We'll hold at 2, and then we're going to release to the count of 7. Now, I also tell people it's easier to do this when you close your eyes, because you're not kind of paying attention to all the environments and all the different things that are going on. Instead, it's just allowing you to really in tune into all of the things that your body may be trying to tell you at this time. It's also giving you a sense of control in the stillness. So I'm going to go ahead and breathe count with you so that you can hear the count. Again, taking that breath in slowly, because if you take it in too fast, you're going to get to the top of that breath and have to hold it for too long. And then release. If you have asthma or some other sort of ailment that may decrease your ability to breathe in that long, it's okay to shorten it and okay to release sooner, just as long as it's comfortable for you. So, but the goal of it is to feel that air entering your body, holding it, capturing it, understanding that it's existing within your body, and then releasing on purpose, right? So you're in control of this. So closing your eyes, we're going to start with the count of 8. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This time I'm going to breathe with you, not counting aloud, but I will say ready, hold, and release. Okay? Ready, hold, release. Again, ready, hold, release. One more time. Ready, hold, release. Anytime you are feeling stressed, anytime you are feeling out of sorts, you need to pull yourself together, you feel as though I just need a moment, you stop and breathe. I promise you it will shift things. It is, I've done this with children who are at the height of an emotional breakdown. I've done it in the middle of therapy with people who are dealing with suicidal ideation or just really struggling to be able to, with anxiety and depression. I've dealt with this. I've even had this happen and use this technique with someone that is, entering into psychosis, and being able to help you tune into where your body is probably one of the most powerful things that we can do, because it reminds us that we are a spirit, a soul having a human experience, but that the two of those are tied together. So I hope that was helpful for someone, and that you'll be able to do it on a continuous basis. I always also suggest that you do some deep breathing every day. This is an everyday thing. Most people are dealing with stress and tightness in their shoulders, especially like here and up in their neck area, because they don't deep breathe. We have very shallow breaths. Most people are not even expanding their lungs. When I tell people that your lungs are 360, and you can literally should be able to feel your lungs in your back when you expand them and breathe deeply. Most people are like, wait a minute, you can feel that in your back? Yes, you can. But we get used to, through stress, through trauma responses, through ailments, through physical maladies, we learn how to do stunting, shallow breaths that give us enough air to continue to, operate. But it's not that deep breathing that opens us up, that opens all of our body to this experience of taking in breath. And that air that goes into our bloodstream and enters into our minds actually allows us to kind of clear out this space a little bit more. It helps with the physical responses that we have to stress, anxiety, depression, any emotional kind of turmoil that's going in. It also enhances spaces of joy, spaces of good moments, just kind of breathing in and taking in the moment. So deep breathing, please put that on your to-do list on a daily basis. Take 5 to 10 minutes and just practice breathing in and opening your lungs up and being grateful for the machine that we operate in. So there's that. So let's get started. So this week, what has this week been like? Interesting. I don't know about anybody else, but my week has been, well, it's been interesting. Okay, just because this is me and I'm always going to have a coffee cup and a glass of water of some sort. But this is Earl Grey tea with cream and sugar. Shout out to my grandmother. If you're chilling with me and you're drinking something, I'd love to hear in the comments what you're drinking, because I'm always looking for new stuff. And this is just kind of like, I think, Kroger brand of Earl Grey, but it's good. So let's see. This week was full of a lot. I call it internal work, but all work seems like it's internal work for me. But a lot of understanding how joy impacts my daily life. So one of the things I tell people too all the time is, look, when I'm telling you something, it's because that same pill I've had to take, that same meal I've had to eat, that same experience, I've had to learn those same lessons. So this isn't something like I'm teaching it from a concept. I teach it from experience, yeah. But when I think about joy, so joy has been kind of the theme this week. If you saw the Instagram post, it was called Joyful, Enjoying Life's Journey. I realized that it's easy to get into this work of wanting to be better, to wanting to grow and wanting to kind of desire and deeply design who we'd like to be. And we can forget the power that joy has, right? Because it's almost like I'm always looking at what needs to change. I'm always looking at what needs to happen. That you kind of, I don't know, I'm a Taurus, so I kind of get very narrow-minded, and that Taurus in me just gets to walking, and she's just plodding along, right? It's just like, what needs to be done to get from this place to this place? And the journey that happens almost kind of seems like it becomes this necessary evil. And I don't even want to say if I want to say a necessary evil, but just kind of this, it's the necessary of what to get me from point A to point B. And it's easy to look at the destination of where we want to go and miss the journey along the way. And so I've been really kind of charged with understanding how to go through the journey, enjoying the journey, not necessarily always being happy. So there's this kind of misconception that life is supposed to be happy, that there's this pursuit of happiness that we need to kind of always be on the road for. We always need to be positive. We always need to be working towards this emotional fulfillment that's great. Okay, so that's not life, guys. So and I think it's almost harmful. I think it causes a lot of anxiety. I think it depresses people. I think it really truly adds pressure, because when we begin to only look for happiness, we miss kind of the rainbow of existence. Because and then the other piece to that is, when you only look for the sunshine in life, right? So you're only looking for and can only enjoy the sunshine. Then when it's raining and it's not sunshine outside, you have nothing, there's no enjoyment there. There's nothing that you have that can enable you to take in the beauty of that day. So I don't particularly like snow. I live in Michigan, and you would think you live in a state, right? And I'm a Midwest girl, I'm born and raised on the south side of Chicago, moved to Michigan with my husband, and I've been here ever since. So I'm a Midwest girl all my life. And so the Four Seasons is what I exist with. And I'm not particularly fond of snow. In the last 3 to 4 years, I can tell you I do have an appreciation for it though. And that is because I understand why winter is important. As the earth begins to change and has tried to adapt to the many abuses that she has taken over time, we find that those 4 seasons mean a lot. When summer comes too long, you feel the effects of it. When winter comes too long or it's too short, we feel the effects of that. And so I remember last year when the snow came, it was cold outside, and it was just snowing. I mean, it just snowed and snowed and snowed and snowed. And I remember sitting looking out my window, and I was just kind of awestruck with how much, or how, I want to use the word beautiful, because that's really what I thought to myself, like, it's really beautiful. I'm glad I don't have to drive in it. I'm glad I don't have to go out and be in it. But I'm grateful that it's here because the planet needed it, right? But it was something awe-inspiring about looking at these trees that are normally green and flourishing, and them being bare and holding icicles and snow on it. And picturesque is the word I want to use, but it really was just like, it reminded me of the fact that as we go through our own seasons in life, that there is beauty in everything. And that oftentimes we miss that beauty because we're looking for the sunshine. Some of the most relaxing days I've had is when it's a rainstorm on a Sunday afternoon, and my husband's home and the kids are home, and we've cooked a meal and everybody's just kind of laying around and reading a book, and there's no rush to go anywhere. There's just this kind of cleansing that's happening to the earth outside, and it's beautiful. But if I was looking for the sunshine, then I'm missing the opportunity to see the beauty in it. And so I caution people all the time that if all you look for is happiness, you're going to miss so many opportunities for joy. So let's talk about joy. I define joy as an attitude of gratitude. So if happiness is, an emotional reaction and is based on what's happening, then joy is really rooted in the attitude of gratitude. It's being able to find beauty in anything and anywhere. And it's not just like, oh, let me find the silver cloud. It's really about the small moments in which we realize that life is a journey. It's like it's a consistent thing. Like, I'm not gonna be stuck here, even if it's a bad space. This too, as my grandmother would always say, this too shall pass, right? But that there is this true ability to look at life and go, it's all right, it's okay. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, it's nice. And being able to see growth, being able to see change, being able to see possibility, right? So it's, I say all the time, there's joy in anything and everything that we encounter if we're able to look for it. Most times, however, we've trained our eyes to only look for things that are, that we find happiness in. And it diminishes actually happiness. Because see, if I'm looking for joy in a way that allows for me to take part in things that I may not be happy with, right? It may not have been what I wanted to happen. It may not have been how I wanted it to happen, but I can find joy in it anyway. I can find something that I'm grateful for in it anyway. It makes me show up differently. It makes me look for lessons. It makes me look for ways to connect to myself and to others. And it deepens my experiences past just kind of the high level of, does it pleasure me? Does it make me feel good? Do I want to do it again, right? Because here's the thing, life is gonna bring us many opportunities to learn lessons. That's the best way I can put it, right? And some of those lessons are, quite frankly, difficult. They're very difficult, hard lessons. And yet I still say that there can be joy in it. I think all the time, you know, when I talk about trauma, I never just, especially with people of color, I never just talk about like your individual trauma. I also talk about generational trauma, and I talk about historical trauma, because they impact who we are and how we see life. And so I also have to think about, you know, when you talk about slavery and you hear about, you know, slaves being in the field and singing, or taking time and still finding ways to celebrate life, it almost can sound mind-blowing, right? That people still kept rituals, and they still kept traditions, and they kept songs, and they still did things to be able to celebrate and enjoy life. It wasn't that they were happy. There wasn't like this happiness that was happening. They found ways to tap into joy. And I think when I look at just even my own personal life, I can think of opportunities that I was not happy. It wasn't like this is what I wanted to happen, but I found joy in it. And I found strength in being able to be grateful for the experience. And so this week, when I was talking about, you know, joyful, how do you find joy on a daily basis? Do you find joy on a daily basis? And I said, you know, we have to be in serious pursuit of joy. This is a relationship that you have to cultivate, because it's not something that you can do a one-night stand with and then expect it to show up all the time. It's just not how it's going to work. This is that treated out to dinner and courted, and, you know, I tell people you need to flirt with joy. Like, it's a real relationship, because we miss the opportunity to really engage and be intimate with joy, because we don't have a relationship with it. At work, when there are multiple things going on at any given time, they could be good, they could be bad, there's small opportunities where joy comes out and just kind of flirts with us, like, hey, I'm here, it's good. And we miss it because we're so focused on what's happening. We're so focused on how we, you know, kind of in the pursuit of happiness, that we miss joy. And joy is just like, hey, I'm over here. Hey, the coffee tastes good, doesn't it? You know, it's just the simple things. It's so interesting too, because it's the simple things. And I find people that deal with really high amounts of anxiety and stress, when I ask them to tell me what they're grateful for, they struggle. And it's really one of the reasons why anxiety is so high, because we can't see a bigger picture other than this narrow box of what I'm worried about, or what I think is going to go wrong, or the narrative that I've kind of created in my head. And so because this narrow box is all I can see, out here in the peripheral is all this other opportunity for experience. And in that, outside of that little narrow box, is joy. How do you enjoy life? How do you sit in joy? How do you rest in joy? How do you experience joy so that it can become your strength, so it can become kind of that partner in life with you that allows for you to truly experience life in a way that doesn't damage you? There are so many people that are damaged because they were focused on, either completely focused on the negative, everything that goes wrong, or they're in this kind of impossible pursuit for making happiness a constant. It's not. That's probably the worst thing you could ever do. Happiness is not a constant thing. Happiness is the rainbow. Joy is the sunshine. Right? It comes out every morning. So even if the sun is hidden behind the clouds and it's gloomy and gray, the sun is still out. And that's the reason why you know it's the difference between day and night. And so the sun is existing. It's here. How do we pursue it? As we go through life, and especially kind of being intentional. I think you're going to hear me say that a lot. I talk to people all the time about how we stay in our head. We have this narrative in our head. We experience life completely through our thoughts. And those thoughts are centered around things that actually are impossible to build upon. They're impossible to withstand what life is going to throw at us. So happiness, again, when we talk about what's happening, it shifts, it's going to change, it's going to consistently move, because life is going to consistently move. The only thing that's constant is change. And the sun, right? So the sun's still coming out. It's still rotating. It's still in the sky. It's still doing what it does. We're still orbiting it. It's still there, right? And so when you are looking at your life, I'm encouraging you this week to really ask yourself the questions. And if you visit the Instagram page, those questions are kind of listed underneath the Winning Wednesday. But I really want, if no other question you take away from it, is how am I enjoying this journey in life? What does joy look like to me? What is the expression of joy? How am I creating? There's 5 questions I ask myself every day. And I call them my daily 5. And in fact, I'm looking up because they're sitting like right here above my desk. But it says, what have you taught today? What did you create today? What have you written today? How have you celebrated today? And how have you loved yourself today? And I ask myself, how have I celebrated today? Because it's, again, how have I tapped into joy today? How have I looked at my life and found something to celebrate, found something that is worth me saying, I'm grateful for this. I woke up this morning very grateful for my family. I woke up this morning very grateful for my husband, who is an amazing man. And if you are blessed to know him, then you are truly, truly a blessed individual. And I'm not saying that just as his wife. I'm saying that as a human that gets to experience just his greatness. And so I look at my children and I think, I've got some really good kids. And as they go into adulthood and they're finding their own way, I'm so proud of how they tap into their gifts and their talents and who they are and the lessons that we've given them. And my gratitude really looked at just life in general. When I think about how I enjoy life, it's a good cup of tea. It's a good book. It's the ability to live my life on my own terms. It's the work that I've put in to be able to live my life on my own terms. I'm grateful for the strength of that. I'm grateful for being able to tap into those things. I'm grateful for the people that have supported me. And as I think about those things, that gratitude really kind of creates this emotional response that says, no, life ain't perfect. Trust me, it's not perfect. And there are kind of this list of things that I'm sitting here like, okay, what we gonna do about that? Right? But I'm joyful and I'm grateful. And I stood outside today and I lifted my head and I just allowed the sunshine to bask on my face, and my eyelids turned red just, as they were closed. And I just thought to myself, and I'm alive. And I'm alive. And I get to make choices about what my life is going to look like. And I've been in a place where money didn't exist and it was tight, and it can be interesting, right? And I remember still every day being able to feed my family. I've been in places where I didn't have the money to go and, go to the movies or go, entertain myself. And we learned some of the greatest talent shows that have ever come out of my house have happened because we allow for joy to be the platform. And I find that as I allow for joy to enter into my life, that it's full. You can focus on everything that's going wrong. I promise you can. And I promise you that it will show up exactly like you want it to. It's going to show up with depression. It's going to show up with sadness. It's going to show up with your tears. And that's not to say that we don't go through periods of grief or that we don't go through periods of sadness and that you need to rush out of that. By no means am I saying that. What I am saying, however, is that when we're intentional about finding joy and we're inviting joy into any room, it shifts the perspective. It shifts how we see life. And so if you're going through a time right now that's a struggle, if you're going through a time where you just broke up from a really long relationship or a very, traumatic relationship, if you're, you just lost someone, or you are struggling right now just to even, make ends meet, or you're trying to find out how to take all of this stuff that you kind of were gifted, through life, whether it's conditioning, bad habits, thoughts that don't align with who you want to be. I'm going to encourage you to intentionally invite joy into your life. Practice of gratitude. Literally every morning, sit down and write out 5 things that you're grateful for. And if you start finding yourself in a space where, I'm consistently having this moment, this kind of emotional upheaval, stop. Do it 3 times a day. Make it a meal. Invite it to every meal. Find ways. Deep breathing is really a good way to connect to joy, because it's reminding you that this body exists and it's still here and it's still carrying you and you still have a foundation. And it's a foundation that can adapt, because when we treat our bodies differently, it changes to that adaptation, to adapt to those new behaviors. Invite in things that make you find joy. Fresh flowers, colors. What colors are you drawn to? Good music. I'm going to say this. Someone's going to be hurt by it. I apologize. No, I don't. I'm not apologizing. Be careful of the music you listen to. If everything you listen to is sad and depressing, or, we get lit music and people, I get it. But there's times when you really need to be able to tap into music that feeds your soul. It's the difference between like fast food and a quality meal. And just because it's expensive don't mean that it's a quality meal. Okay, that's another conversation for another day. But really taking the time out and cultivating, you know, a playlist that makes you feel joyful. Take some time out, and what do you put before your eyes? Are you coming home, and I get it, because I've come home from work and I've got the kids, or I've got, you know, the dog, or I got whatever, and I'm running and I just want to sit down. And what I tend to do is I take, you know, the phone and I'm going through Instagram. So I challenged myself to curate an Instagram feed that fed me, and that fed me things that I wanted to actually eat. Because if I did not, what was happening was, when I'm on autopilot, because I'm trying to not really engage in actual work or do anything, I was feeding myself garbage, right? I'm watching videos that are adding to my stress level. I looking at my phone and I'm looking at pictures or memes or whatever, and they're meant to be funny, but really what they're doing is just adding negativity to my life. And so I started, you know, unfollowing people who just like, yeah, no thanks, no thanks. Nah, I don't want to do that either. I started hiding people on my Facebook Live. Like some folks, I was just like, yeah, bye. Because I needed to cultivate a space that brought me strength, and strength came through joy. What are you reading? Are you reading? We talked about that last week, right? What are you doing just to decrease yourself? What are you smelling? I will tell anybody, invest in an aromatherapy essential oil diffuser. It is probably one of the best buys you will ever have, because the scents that come from the oils really do change how we feel. All of those things are necessary if we're being intentional about how we want to live our best life. Thriving is possible. I don't care what you're going through. Thriving is possible. My grandmother used to say, you can always find a way to do something. How you choose to do it is up to you. And so if you can't afford a diffuser right now, a bottle of oil is $5. Drop it in some water and put it on the stove. And I'm saying these things because we will come up with every excuse, and usually the excuse is money. Usually it's money, time, or energy, right? And then when you start looking to eliminate those excuses, life shifts. Invite joy into your life. Find ways to really take the time and invite joy into your life. I hope that you will join us again this week. Coming up, we're going to have our manifesting minute. And I'm looking forward to that. I hope that you guys are doing it. So I have been really like, okay, I record them, and it's easy to record them and kind of walk away, right? But I say to myself all the time, did you do your manifesting minute this morning? Right? So really just taking the minute and just going along with those affirmations have really made a difference in my own life. We will have another Winning Wednesday this week. We will have another Thrive for 5. I am also doing a thing starting on Friday with people or vendors that I have worked with, where I will do some shout outs to them on Friday so that you can know about quality products and quality services. I'm about connecting people with quality. So if I haven't touched your stuff or I actually experienced it, then you won't be on my page. Just because I have to know that it's something that I would buy myself or I've experienced myself. So the people that you do find that are promoted, it's because I have experienced their services myself. And then I am also gearing up for the start of our self-care solutions course. So I'm really excited about that. I'm telling you, it has been a joy to kind of like really dig into how I wanted to deliver this course, and I'm excited for the students that are going to partake in this class and this course. If you are still interested in signing up and you are like, I want to, but I'm struggling, DM me. Let's talk. But because I really, there's something in me right now that is just like, it's not even, I need, there's a need for this. I'm listening to it on an everyday basis. And I am a business owner, but I'm also a servant. And so if this is something I'm really, really interested in doing, but I'm struggling here or whatever, let's have a conversation. Maybe there's something we can work out, because I really want as many people to have the opportunity to experience this. I will be doing it again, I believe, coming at the beginning of the year in January. But I'm excited about that, and just the many things that have been offered to me to give to you all, so through me. So I hope that you guys are having an awesome Sunday. Please do something for yourself, even if it's just a really good cup of tea, and reflecting over all the beautiful things that you've been able to do in your life, what this week has looked like, good, bad, and indifferent. Take the time out and just look for the joy in it. Invite joy to come in and reframe it for you if necessary. So, I love you all. I hope that you are living on purpose, that you are doing your best to take in and learn, that you're loving yourself, and that you're finding a way to fall in love with life. And I hope that you continue to join us here at Sunday Soul Sessions with witheshé.